On the subject of the use of the word Oz, and by the use of the word I mean the pronunciation, forget the spelling for the time being. It seems to be a name that resonates with false flag terror and government patsies. I mean, we have Lee Harvey Oswald, for one, and the CIA code name given to Osama bin Laden is pronounced Tim Osman. Then in the 92 movie, Batman Returns, Penguin and the Mayor of Gotham decided to set up Batman using the Reichstag fire or Gulf of Tonkin style incident. Considering Penguin's name is Oswald Cobblepot, and I think that fits the bill. So, continuing on the subject of 9/11 subliminals, there are numerous films, movie posters, album covers, billboards, and cutaways to clocks that read 9/11 during scenes like trading places, having a clock that reads 9/11 inside the World Trade Center itself. And Gremlins with a radio that has its dial placed between 9 and 11, while just above it the word Sapphire 11 can be seen. Sapphire is a September birthstone, so September 11th. And in The Matrix, Neo, the One, has his passport on display, and the expiry date is September 11th, 2001. And that's a little bit odd, considering that 9/11 is supposed to be the event that catapults us back into oneness. This film was released September 11th, 1992. I think the cover has obvious implications, with New York bathed in a hellish red and yellow glow, and the words "what began in hell will end on earth" obviously need no explaining. Pinhead holds the cube, and we all know what the cube is, but notice how the twin pillars are on the cube with light emanating from in between them. To start with, the cube on the Tree of Life is, as we know, a stargate between the dimensions, with the vortex point or the portal being in the centre at 0 point of the cube. And we also know that in every depiction the stargate portal is between Jackin and Boaz. Just to reiterate, Darth is the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life which represents this 0 point or stargate portal, and Isis guards it while sitting in between Jackin and Boaz. In 2D it is the square, and yet again the vortex point sits in between Jackin and Boaz. Point being, Jackin and Boaz guard the stargate, and the light emanating from the stargate is to indicate that it is open. In the Hellraiser films, the cube serves exactly this purpose. It is a stargate portal from this world to hell. Furthermore, if we have a closer look at the Hellraiser cube, it is adorned with geometric patterns, all of which emanate from 0 point, reflecting the 12 around the 13 principle seen on Metatron's cube, the Da Vinci painting, and the Tree of Life, where the same principle is conveyed, except this time with 6 around the 7th sphere. So, obviously, someone or something has pretty dark intentions and wants us to manifest hell on earth. It ain't pretty, but the evidence speaks for itself. Here we can see Jason emerging from the Stargate portal on the cover of Friday the 13th Part 8. And here's the movie poster for X-Men 2. And we have beings emerging from the Stargate portal. Again, the X refers to the checkered corridor, and the Da Vinci principle of the open portal forming an X. And the centre is, as always, 0 point, or the portal, or Stargate. This 1995 episode of cartoon series The Gargoyles was first aired on September 11th. And this episode features a Stargate being opened on top of the Twin Towers. And the episode is entitled Mirror. We all know what Oz means to Aleister Crowley, Pan 77. So, what is the deal with the Wizard of Oz, and what exactly has the Wizard of Oz got to do with the 9/11 ritual? Well, the Wizard of Oz was written by Frank Baum, who is a member of Madame Blavatsky's Theosophical Society, and therefore familiar with the ushering in of the new Ion. Those familiar with the first film adaptation of the book will remember how Dorothy sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and this is an obvious reference to the Rainbow Bridge, which is of course the open Stargate, hence the Antakarana being its symbol, which is the Xbox swirling around the vortex point. Here is the image I found by typing in Anti-Qurana, confirming this. The rainbow swastika also confirms this. After singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the vortex appears in the form of a tornado, or cornucopia perhaps. The vortex takes her from a land of black and white, i.e. polarity, to a land of colour, called Oz. And we know that Oz is pan, meaning the all, so in other words, oneness, from polarity to oneness. Oz is the same thing as the Garden of Eden, Thulu, and Atlantis, all of which lie beyond the pillars, as is clearly demonstrated by this Disney flick, where we see Atlantis beyond the pillars. The Wizard of Oz is replete with occultic themes and undertones, but it is the 1978 version, The Wiz, which takes the cake. In this film, Emerald City is in New York, which is appropriate because the letters corresponding to O and Z in the alphabet are N and Y. And funny enough, if you put those four letters together, you can get what is perhaps an alternative spelling of Zion, with the Y standing in for the I. But to carry on, Dorothy and co. enter a circular door, which leads to Emerald City, which is the World Trade Center plaza. The spherical caryatid is replaced by the symbol of Oz, and the inhabitants dance around the Oz symbol, ritualistically mimicking the circling of the Kaaba, which is of course, in actual fact, the mimicking of the swirling vortex of the cube. So, moving on from pre-9/11 subliminals, we're going to examine some post-9/11 spells within films, starting with the movies made about the attacks themselves, or more accurately, the posters for the movies. This is the poster for the movie World Trade Center. As you can see, the Twin Towers are blacked out, and 3 strips of sky are revealed. Also, we can see 2 people walking into the illuminating light of the Stargate portal between the 2 pillars. Also, note how the chief cornerstone shaped A is conveniently placed between the towers. This poster is a sneaky reference to the Da Vinci painting. As you can see via the 3 strips of sky, Jesus is of course the vortex point. The implication being there are 8 doors and the 9th door is between Jachin and Boaz. However, you cannot get in the 9th door without the vortex to take you through, which, as we know, is the chief cornerstone, i.e. Christ. Hence the phrase, only through Christ can you reach heaven. And since the process of illumination requires death rebirth, a whole new light is shed on the words, you must be born again in Christ. As far as the 9 doors go, they are, as we discussed earlier, the 9 points of the cube, 8 of which are the cube's corners, while the 9th is 0 point in the centre of the cube. The movie World Trade Center features a scene where a man is visited by Christ holding water. Now, although this scene is based on a vision that a man did have that day, the Christ shown in the scene is wearing the Quetzalcoatl Sacred Heart and has his face blacked out, which, quite frankly, gives me the creeps. The movie poster for the 1994 film Stargate has 2 black voids of space filling in for the pillars, and light emanating from the pyramid, which is of course the open Stargate. The portal emanating from the middle has at the top a heavenly glow, and at the bottom a hellish red and yellow glow, indicating that the portal can lead either way, heaven or hell, or Christ and Antichrist, which is confirmed by Darth on the Tree of Life, symbolising exactly that principle. In the alternative poster for the film, 2 figures are walking into the Stargate, which, as we previously saw, is echoed on the poster for World Trade Center. The film United 93, about the 9/11 plane that went down in Shanksville, features the Twin Towers burning in the background on the film's poster. And the front sees the head of the statue of Isis with 3 spikes sticking out of her crown, which once again resonates with the 3 pillars on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, the Masonic tracing board, and Last Supper painting. Next to the 3 pillars is the title United 93. Now, what this actually translates as is united by love under will, I would suggest that what this really means is united by what you were told is love, but is quite the opposite under the will of the Antichrist consciousness. Although the entertainment industry is absolutely rife with example after example of this kind of manipulation and programming, and check out 9/11 Hidden in Hollywood and the industry for more on that. There are examples here for the time being, and after all, you need only know that, like Jordan Maxwell says, Hollywood is the wood of a holly tree, which is what magic wands are made of. And what does a wand do? It casts spells on you. The magic wands are, of course, now black and white checkered clapboards. So, this Antichrist consciousness seeks to bring about a new so-called age of enlightenment, which we have previously discerned involves it possessing us on a mass level. But what exactly is this Antichrist consciousness, and where really does it come from? Well, for the time being, I'm not going to speculate on how consciousness came to be this way, but I'd say originally the same place we did, one collective consciousness. It may be this collective consciousness originally was neither good nor bad, but in actual fact both. Bipolar energy of sorts. Since the negative part of consciousness was so repelled by the positive, it surmised that it would be better off if it were a singularity consisting completely of negativity, eliminating positivity altogether. Now, this process would not be easy. Negativity cannot simply force positivity to comply with its wishes, because consciousness, by its very nature, has free will. So, in order to carry out this process, it would have to manipulate and convince the positive that it would be in its best interest to be negative. Now, let's look at it from the perspective of the positive side of consciousness. Positivity realises that it is part of a binary collective consciousness consisting of both negativity and positivity. Due to its positive nature, it realises that negativity is not beneficial to either itself or anything else. It does not fear negativity, neither does it hate it, because fear and hate are aspects of negativity. What it does want to do, however, due to its loving nature, is heal negativity and bring the collective consciousness as a whole into a singularity consisting completely of positivity, so love, truth, etc. However, because of the nature of consciousness and of love, which positivity consists of, negativity has free will. So the positive cannot and will not force negativity to be healed, and neither will it lie or manipulate negativity into being healed, as lies are manipulation of products of the negative, not the positive. So the common thread here is singularity. Both the negative and the positive seek to go from polarity to oneness. Both have different methods of achieving this, except negativity naturally wants a negative singularity or oneness, while positivity wants a positive singularity. So Christ consciousness and Antichrist consciousness are these positive and negative aspects of the bipolar pole.